What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we are looking at Gamers8 2023. First off, Cologne playoffs went really bad. Going for heroic or vitality didn't really pay off. At least I'm not the only one who had these players. So a lot of people ended up losing a lot of points. What can you do? They looked the best teams coming in as a fantasy pick, especially because they got to play an extra match. But what can you do? Sometimes it goes like this when there's six really good teams to pick from, and it's very hard to decide between them. This can happen. Yeah, it's funny that Fuxi has the most points for me. That's the wrong one. No, wait, that's the right one. I wanted to show the best lineup. Double Nico, double G2, double Ends, the teams that made it to the finals. Nico especially being like the best player in these playoffs, MVP of the entire event. Hunter with him, Modern Sampayus and an Apex as a budget enabler, as a Vitality. Vitality won their first match. But yeah, that's it about that. What can you do? Partner games. I had this kind of lineup for this CCT thing. Mir and James, pretty good picks so far, especially Mir, of course. Like 206 grand for him always seemed a bit low to me. So to me, that seemed like a good pick. Other side of the bracket, not so much. I mean, Iani didn't really do much. Should have just gone for Spirit, I think, if we want to like check the best lineup. Yeah, like Donkas had an insane event. Artfrost also really good. Yeah, this can happen. Scenario is kind of a budget enabler actually in this best lineup, which makes sense to me, and then Lucky as well. But Donk has been absolutely insane so far with this Spirit lineup. Artfrost really good as well. Excited to see where they get with that. And this is for the Thunderpick World Championships, which is a funny name to me. I don't know what makes it a World Championship, but and there's some decent teams. I went with this. Just more enjoyable for me to honestly watch this event now that I have double mouse, because I am a Finnish CSGO enjoyer. I really like to cheer for the Finnish players like Impat, so I want to go for double mouse. And honestly, Frozen has been insane so far lately. Xertion definitely can frag quite well. Mantu was only 201 grand, honestly a steal in my opinion. Sin was the other, like was 190k I think. So it just made sense, and then Minio as a budget enabler, especially for these mouse players. But yeah, I think Mantu is super underpriced here, especially if Big do well, which I'm willing to take the gamble. Big is actually already playing. They're losing to Sprout so far, and Mantu is bottoming. Okay, maybe I just don't know anything. But Mantu was like their best player for Big in their last event where they played together, and let's hope this is still able to be turned around by Mantu, and well, Sin has been decent at least. But yeah, okay, let's get to the main thing. Gamers8. If you don't know, it's a single elimination bracket, pretty refreshing in my opinion. I don't mind a single elim bracket with high tier teams. Should make every match very exciting. Every match is like elimination match, and of course a really big prize pool. It's played in Saudi Arabia. They have the money, why not? Bracket wise, this really is inviting you to pick heroic, isn't it? Like, it's just seeding things, of course, where heroic probably has the best seed and Falcons probably has the worst seed. Apex and Gamer Legion are like in that middle pack. So yeah, whereas other side, like there's C9, Ends, FaZe, G2, Navi, Vitality, kind of, I would call them clear favorites for each of the opening matchups. I would say Apex, Gamer Legion is very close. And yeah, heroic should beat either one of these. Of course, we know that doesn't always happen. They don't usually lose to this tier of opposition, but it of course could happen. But honestly, I just don't see myself not going for heroic again. I know I got burned by them here. But I think it's more of a playoffs thing almost. Like this almost doesn't feel like of course it's single elimination, it's a big event. They're gonna try their hardest. But it's not like a big stage match like a Cologne in front of like a lot of people. This is not gonna be like that. I think Heroic can definitely be very good here. Also, the prices are still kind of sensible. If you look at this, there's like Tessus for 203, Yabi 205. If he just had an off event last time, $2,000 more than Tessus could very well be the best pick in my opinion. Shush at 207 still. Stavn at 217 is honestly worth considering in my opinion. He usually does especially well against this lower tier opposition from what I've seen. So I definitely see this as a potential pick. Kadian is maybe a bit too expensive now. He's just been playing very well, but the 3k jump from Kadian to Stavn, I think that's probably worth making if you at all can. So it could be a Stavn Jubby, Stavn Tessus, Tessus Jubby even. It depends on who you want to pick if you want to go heroic. There's really no bad options, I guess. So that kind of leaves C9 ends on the other side, or this side, that you could go for. Ends, of course, made the finals, but I don't see them as a team that's gonna consistently do well. I feel like they're the kind of team that's gonna be up and down, and that's kind of fine. Same with G2. I think they're teams that kind of have good events, have worse events. They have high highs, and then they might just not show up that much for the next event. I'm kind of afraid of picking G2 or ends for that reason. Especially with G2's prices, like Huxi is inexpensive, but like we don't expect much from him. JKS and Hunter had good events, but even that price is a bit on the high side, honestly, for me, when it comes to G2, because they are unreliable in my eyes still. If they win this event, that's gonna change my view of them. If they win 2 events in a row, 2 very big events, maybe there's something there. But it's just that they were so unreliable before this event in Cologne. And ENS is kind of the same, where we haven't seen ENS be like super impressive. And also, I just don't know who to pick from them for these prices. Like Nerds for Cologne was 202k, 202 grand, and I was like, that's a pick I could go for. Sanpayus was 211 grand, now he's 216. I see it hard. I see it as a hard sell to pick ENS or C9. C9 prices are like this, with Hobbit, Electronic Perfecto as the cheaper options. You could pick any of them for them. They're also so unproven still. Like they've only played 1 professional match together and they lost it to, well, Vitality, but still. I know they can farm Fnatic. They can definitely beat ENS, but I just don't have enough faith in them to go for them. Especially with these prices, I think it's unreliable. Like if there was like under 200 grand options from Hobbit, Electronic Perfecto, and Shiro was a bit cheaper, or Axa was a bit cheaper, then I could see myself making the jump to them. Okay, more interesting side of the bracket, fantasy-wise to me, is FaZe, G2, Navi, Vitality. I wouldn't go FaZe, I don't think. Where in this FaZe? Here in 5th. So I think they might be in a bit of a transitional period. I think the coach change may have had more of an impact than we thought. They may be kind of running out of juice almost, it seems like. It looks like there was a summer break, but they're not looking very refreshed. They may still need to get into the groove of things. They may need to make some more changes. I don't know. I really don't know. But I wouldn't pick FaZe right now. Maybe Carrigan as a budget enabler. Look, that's all fine and good if you want to do it, but not as a 2-off. G2, as I discussed, I don't think is likely to have as good an event as last time. I think they're going to beat 9. They could lose to FaZe, but I think they're going to lose in the semifinal, or yeah, probably the semifinals here. Also the prices, as I said, like Nico and Monesi were by far the best players for G2 last event. and I just don't see myself making the jump to that kind of a price, especially with like Zaiwu being less expensive than Nico for this event. Navi is interesting due to the fact that their prices are reduced, let's say. I think there's high potential. They're gonna have an event eventually where they're gonna pop off, in my eyes. Like, eventually they're gonna have this event where the individuals just click, and we have players like Imma doing, like, fragging to their potential. JL is anchoring well. Bit hitting every headshot. Simple just doesn't miss shots, and Alexi B with good calls. I think that's gonna eventually be the case for this Navi lineup. Is it gonna be now? I don't know. It could be hard after the loss to Astralis to make playoffs. It might be still a bit of a situation where their mental side is just not that good. Of course, there might be some rose-tinted glasses for me because I'm an Alexi B fan, but I still think these prices are kind of fair for anyone except Alexi B. Maybe I think that's still too high. But someone like Beat for 200 grand to me seems like a great budget option, or like great value option rather. The thing is that Vitality is probably just the strongest pick. Instead, like, I'd rather go Vitality than Navi here. And there's like a couple standouts. I don't think Flame Z is the player I would go for. I still see too many wobbles from him, especially in matchups on like maps where he's not that comfortable, like Vertigo or such. He just doesn't. Or wait, no, it was Anubis actually. Anubis he doesn't look very confident on, and it's a Vitality map. They like to play it. Magisk is reliable to me. Apex has shown that he can frag. He didn't have the greatest playoffs now, but in like previous stages, he certainly can hang. To me, just kind of screams like you should go for a Staven, Yabi, Apex, Magisk, and then see where your budget takes you. Something like this. You could go Roy. Roy is probably not good, right? Probably not. Probably not. He's just had... I remember he was a pretty good pick in one of the earlier fantasies. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, single elimination is so brutal. But to me, it just seems the best to go with double heroic, double vitality again, even though I just get burnt by them. Maybe a Modern here with this. There's some options because Ens is here, right? Yeah, Ens could definitely make it here, and Modern can be kind of... He's an explosive player. He can frag. If you don't go Staven, you can probably... It's like a bit. Can get bit here. Can get bit for sure, but then you leave some money in the bank. Get Imma if you believe that he's gonna pop off. I don't have the faith in that happening yet. Just leaves a bit too much money in the bank for that. You could go Shushi instead of Tesses. How are their stats compared to each other? Like rating wise. Cologne 1.03 for Tesses and 1.10 for Shush. Shush has actually been a bit better lately. They are kind of like not that good. Like not that different from each other. But Shush had a better Cologne. Tesses had a better Blast Premier Spring Finals. Dallas. Shush was way better. It seems like it could be either or. Maybe Shush is just a bit better. We go past 3 months overview. Shush has a slightly higher rating on average. I just see Tesses as a more explosive, like more potential, I suppose. Because Shush is more of an anchory player, but I think this could be... Oh yeah, but the problem is Navi is actually... Yeah, Navi and Vitality are on the same side here. That doesn't quite work out, I don't think. Rain is still quite inexpensive. how expensive is like, yeah, Hunter and JKS are 208 and 205k. If you go 205k for JKS or what? It's like, this is not a bad looking lineup either. You have the cheapest vitality options, but I don't see that as a problem, and the cheapest heroic options. Is it better? Can we get like a Zaibu in? For 159, it looks like you have to have Apex if you want to have Zaibu. 182, you can get Snappy in. Snappy is also a potential good like budget option. Of course, Zaibu is always explosive. This uses money well. How about rolls? IGL on probably like a TSS and T-side rating, honestly, probably, and Yabi or heads maybe. IGL Apex might be better than TSS maybe on support. Zaibu on main op or multi-killer. Snappy on something. Maybe Eco Fragger, honestly, or like the SMG abuser, SMG player. I think this is just the best lineup to me. It's probably quite highly picked. It's actually like template. I didn't even look at this yet, but it's almost the most picked players. It's so safe. Do I like this more than what I had with G2? I don't think I want G2 though, and especially like I don't see JKS as being like a great pick when I don't think G2 are gonna do that well. I also am not that convinced about Ents though. Like, who would I guess I would want like super hard to pick here. I also see the potential that VP, for example, beats FaZe, but VP prices are pretty high, unfortunately. Like, if there were like sub 200k MIR, like I see that as an actual possibility that VP just beats FaZe. They could also beat G2. I guess I see C9 making it to the semis here, more likely than Ents. So can I fit... Yeah, I can fit any of the cheaper C9 players here. So like Hobbit was actually quite good, I think, lately. Perfecto, how was his like Cologne? He was really good in Cologne, actually. Perfecto, Hobbit. It's mostly a matter of I guess this is really the problem with C9. I think Hobbit probably still makes it. I guess Perfecto is more supportive, so there's more potential for Hobbit to frag. It's just a matter of, is Hobbit really good enough to have Magisk Hobbit? It's like, to me it's pretty much Magisk Hobbit versus Zaibu Snappy. And I think Zaibu Snappy just edges it for me. Zaibu is just kind of cheap to me. Like, this price is not very high. And I just like it. It's very template, but as in template, I don't know. I've just been playing a lot of Fantasy Premier League and watching a lot of Fantasy Premier League content and making my lineup for that. So some of the vocabulary from Fantasy Premier League might creep into these videos. So like template is essentially just a team of the most picked players. But I just think this is the team. IGL on Apex. I believe Multifragger is better than main op on Zaibu by a good amount as well, actually. Just making sure there's nothing better, but yeah, Multifragger is just a really good role nowadays. Headshots versus entry versus T-side rating. T-side rating is, I guess, a bit better than headshots. Also, if they win, it's more likely to be good. Entry, headshots. Headshot is a bit better. Probably want to use that on... Again, support is a bit better on Tessus. And then here, I believe this should be the best role for him, yeah. Yeah, just based on watching Ents games, I do think they like force by a lot. This is my my lineup. I don't know why I can't put boosters yet. I mean, we know the matchups. I guess they just haven't been kind of made available yet to the fantasy. But yeah, look, it's very safe. I still think there's like potential for this to work quite well, because you can see like after Hooksy Apex, Hooksy, I'm also avoiding the most picked players still. Hooksy Apex, after that they are picked a lot, like Yabi, Snappy, Tessus, but I think some people will be straying away from Heroic Vitality for this event after Cologne, after the disappointment that Cologne brought, but I'm just willing to double down on them. I still think they are the best two teams in the world right now. G2 is the closest to getting to their level, I suppose, but I'm still not willing to bet on them. If they do really well here and start to build this kind of reputation of actually being consistent, then I'm more inclined to pick them in the future. But I'm going with this for now. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I make a video about every leaderboard fantasy. I've made a video for all of these this season, and I always show off these partner games. Also sometimes make some other kinds of CS fantasy videos if I get a good idea of doing something. But yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.